Well, isn't there a way? And I hear what you're saying totally, but don't you, in some way, like the way we speak has all been taught to us by someone, so we had to learn some language and some way to speak before we could articulate our own thoughts. So obviously, at some point, to be able to create all that you had to learn other people's stuff.
Yeah. But you weren't sent when you were 5 years old to grammar school and just learned what is the prefix of this and the prefix of that. No, you were talking, right?
Right.
Yeah. And how many people really know what's the right grammar for this or that? Or even language is a good example. You bring up a really good point. We use about 5 to 10% of the words in any given language. I know it because I speak, like, if you analyze even this conversation and we put this into a computer right now and an AI would go through the words I'm using, I'm repeating pretty much the same 40, 50 words over and over and over and over.
Is that why this interview is so boring? Because you're just saying the same thing?
Exactly. So, but that's what almost everybody is doing. And that's why people not underestimate how simple, but it is easier to learn a foreign language than you think. And it's the same approach. Such a good example that you brought up. Most language schools start with grammar. And the first thing they say is like, oh my goodness, yeah, German is so complicated. It's compared to English because they have a gender. Like das Boot, it's like, and der is male and she and all of that. If you start with that, you will not go any further, right? Don't. Just start learning conversations. Right? Listen to conversation. Watch German movies. Get it in your brain and start copying like kids do. Kids do not pick up language like this, right?
Right. They just imitate what they're hearing.
They imitate what you're hearing, but here there's a thing again. They're not doing exercises. They don't sit there and going, the train station, the train station, the train station. You tell a kid to go in the room and do that, it's over, right?
Right.
So there comes the thing again about using it right away. And what do kids do? I don't even have kids, but I'm around with kids with friends and stuff. But you've been such a great dad to yours. And what do? Once they find one word that's new, they use it 1,000 times, right? They try to find, and they use it 1,000 times wrong. And they're trying to put it, but that's what music should be, right? You find a chord and I'm a big, I love reading biographies, and especially when it's about, about music and stuff like this. And it's like amazing when you find out how people, made those records or this or that. And it's all just because somebody showed them that chord, and then they just thought, okay, so how can I use that? And where can I put it? And it has to come from a playful point. Again, this is my main thing. So, great example that you brought up, because literally we are only using a very small vocabulary, like music, right? Like, we both know how much theory is out there, right? Because we talk about, our Western system. We know there's all the microtonal systems, there's all of this, there's all of that. Analyze the melodic range of all the Beatles songs combined, right? And how complicated is it really? It's not, but it's how they use it. That's what you do with language all the time, right? How can you say the same thing? Lyrics is a good example. How can you say almost the same thing, but just because they use one word slightly different, or even sometimes because of the pure performance, it's the simplest thing, but Adele just can say the word hello, for freaking Christ's sake, but it's just done right. And she's not going to win the Nobel, the Pulitzer Prize for literature.
That's just the way that she says it.
Yeah.
The delivery of it.
My thing to this comes from a very different perspective. But I truly believe you gotta get to. So it doesn't come across the wrong way. I do believe you gotta get your basics right.